Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you my metallic watercolor collection, and I'm going to be answering a couple different common questions that I typically get about these, so hopefully that clears some things up. So first off, these are handmade metallic watercolors that I get from multiple different makers, and there are seriously a ton of different makers out there. I'm going to list the makers that I typically purchase from. There are, I'm sure, way more really good shops, but I just like to keep my collection simple and not purchase from so many different makers, and try to keep it from only, a few makers that I really trust and love their products. So first off, one question that I always get is like, where can I get a set like that? And most of the time, makers don't actually sell watercolors in like a huge set like this. They typically sell them in smaller sets, like this right here is a set, or this right here is a set, this right here is a set, this is a set, and then I put them together in a combined tin just for simplicity. I'll do it by like style, like these are like glitter watercolors, or I'll do it by maker too. Most of the time, if you are interested in purchasing a huge set like this, you can always ask a seller if they are selling big sets like this, but typically they don't, because it's a lot of work for them. So that is how I've accumulated so much, is by getting different sets and then putting them together in these tins, because I always get asked, can I just buy that set from someone? And the answer is typically no, you cannot. Also, if you're interested, I have a full metallic watercolor course where I teach you how to use these metallic watercolors. I teach you about the different qualities of metallic watercolors, how much water to use, what supplies to use, and also how to capture the sparkle on video. So if you're interested, I will put more information down in the description below. I only open enrollment twice a year, so just make sure you are on my email list. And then another question I normally get is, how do you organize your watercolors? So like I've talked about before, I typically organize them first by maker. So like this tin right here is by Hydrocolor, and then after I separate them by maker, then I will separate them by sets. So this is like a set, this is a set of color shifters, this is a set of chunky glitters. So that is how I like to separate them. I like to put them with their own maker and then separate them into categories of what kind of watercolors they are, because some makers don't actually sell a ton of sets. So like Hydrocolor, she does sell sets, but she also has a lot of individual watercolors that she sells as well. So it's not always like, here's a set and I put them all together. I will purchase individuals and then make them into a set. I still do have like a few smaller sets that I have just kept in its own little small tin, but I try for the most part not to do that, because I like to have them in all these uniform tins because it's easier to organize. And then I also have a magnetic watercolor wall here too. It's not very organized right now because I've been using some of them for different projects, but I put some up here. The ones that I put on my wall are ones that I need to swatch out, or that I'm going to be using, or I just don't have a home for them yet. So, and this is on my dream box here. It's just an easy way to display them without putting them in a tin, kind of like so I remember that I have them. So another question I commonly get is, do you prefer handmade watercolors over manufactured watercolor companies like Fine Tech, for example? And so I do actually have a lot of palettes of these watercolors, but as you can tell, I don't really use them that often. So yes, I do prefer handmade metallic watercolors over the manufactured watercolors. I do like supporting small businesses, but overall I feel like the quality, the shimmer is actually better in handmade metallic watercolors. And in fact, some overseas companies often steal videos of mine and other artists too that are using handmade watercolors to promote their manufactured products. So that goes to show, and of course this is without permission, but it goes to show that they can't make videos based off of their manufactured watercolors because they don't shimmer like handmade metallic watercolors do. And then the last question, why are handmade watercolors so unique? And they are unique because of the makers that are making them. So what I love is that different makers will put their own spin on their metallic watercolors by adding like different features or having really cool names, or like, let's see, this set right here is from Aloha Watercolors, and she names them all like Hawaiian names. They all have Hawaiian meanings. So I think that that's really cool for her brand. And other makers, they have their way of naming things and creating really cool sets as well. So I just think that that's a really unique factor with handmade watercolors, and you can't get that anywhere else. So let me know down below if you guys have any more questions about watercolors. I am going to make a whole separate video of my metallic watercolor favorites because I always get questions about that too. So be on the lookout for that. But if you have any other questions, let me know and I'd be happy to help answer those for you guys.